listen, there's so much good stuff out there that if you don't know how to deliver your message well and compellingly, people are go somewhere else. They just are not interested in watching something that's boring, which is why I talk about edutainment a lot. Video on social media needs to be edutaining. Now, in the news industry, we used to call it infotainment, which is information and entertainment, and you're sort of bringing the two together. In the business world, it's called edutainment, same concept, education and entertainment brought together.
Share one of your Emmys. You won an Emmy. What did you win your first Emmy for, and what does that mean to you?
Now, my first Emmy was back in Salt Lake City when I was actually over in Iraq, and I was covering the second Gulf War. And This was 2006-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, my husband was in the Air Force at that time, and his squadron, he flew F-16s, his squadron commander came to me and said, we'd really like to do a story on, deployment preps. Like, they're not a political story. It's not about the war. It's about the families. And so I said, that sounds great. And why don't we do this and this and this and this and this and this and this? And so we took this idea of doing sort of like one or two pieces on just following the families through their, deployment prep to, me taking an F-16 ride to talk about what it, feels like to fly one of them. And then we went over to Iraq, and I was at Balad Air Base where my husband's squadron was. And, we went into the hospital, and we talked with enlisted folks. We talked with officers. We talked with support. We did supply runs up into Qatar and Kuwait, and flew C-1. Like, it was fascinating, and that was probably the highlight of my career in terms of just meaning and experience. And then this one is my most recent, and I don't know if the audience can see it.
It's beautiful. We're going to see it on YouTube channel for sure. This is super cool.
But this was in New York City at NBC for breaking news but this was back in 2016. There was a big crane collapse in Lower Manhattan, actually in Tribeca, and some people died. And there had been some problems on the work site. There had been several complaints filed, et cetera. So we were wall to wall with that for, I don't know, good like 8 hours. And that's for my breaking news coverage.
Wow. Thank you for sharing the things you've shared so far about your media career on that side of it. And amazing. And by the way, I love the Emmys. Just keep showing those. You got to check this out on the YouTube channel when this comes out. This is pretty cool. About 24 minutes in. This is awesome. See this Emmy. So let's take us forward to what you do now. I understand you help coach executives, teams, leaders, and you help them overcome some of these challenges of fear in their persona and helping to cultivate that. So please, what do you do now? And take us from there.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I started my business, it was about it was right before the pandemic started. And I honestly didn't know exactly what I was going to do when I left the news industry. I thought I was going to go into PR. This is just what a lot of former newsies do.
Yeah.
And that is, in fact, not how it went down. I started strictly talking about public speaking then, which I do. I do keynotes and corporate trainings and speak at conferences and all that other stuff. But really, my 20 plus years of experience is media speaking. So speaking to the camera. And so I like to say what I do now is not Toastmasters, but it's Camera Masters, because speaking on camera is the new public speaking. I work with, as you mentioned, corporate teams, sales teams to teach them, how to speak on camera or on video. A lot of them are interested in media opportunities. So it's sort of your classic media training. And then I also work with teams and executives on prepping them for their on-camera elements. So sometimes it's social. Very often it's for hybrid events, or it's for virtual panel discussions, or their own virtual presentations or pitches. Sometimes it's client pitches or or if it's regular sales calls over Zoom, and they need to understand how to deliver compellingly and interestingly through a lens. And it's not the same as speaking on a stage. There are some elements that are similar, but just there's a little bit of overlap. A lot of times people think they're good on the stage, which means they're going to be good on the camera, and that's not how it works. For my small business owners and entrepreneurs, I also do media training. For them, usually the end goal is slightly different. They're looking to create video content to support their business and grow their personal brand. Sometimes executives want that, but on the small business side. And so for them, it's very often they want to create video content to scale message. They want to create video for sales and marketing materials. And very often they are looking to gain visibility through social media video as well. But there is an element of being on camera and connecting, whether it's a video podcast like this, or it's a live stream, or it's a LinkedIn sort of thought leadership video. And listen, there's so much good stuff out there that if you don't know how to deliver your message well and compellingly, people are go somewhere else. They just are not interested in watching something that's boring, which is why I talk about edutainment a lot. Video on social media needs to be edutaining. Now, in the news industry, we used to call it infotainment, which is information and entertainment, and you're sort of bringing the two together. In the business world, it's called edutainment, same concept. Education and